Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be checking out an album that has been suggested to me for months now, actually. I think sometime last year I first caught wind of this LP. It was suggested simply because I enjoyed the work of Bork, as well as some other experimental sort of hyperpop deconstructed club artists. That, of course, being Arca with her 2020 album, KiCk 1. And before we get started today, I just want to say if you want to see the full unedited reaction of this album before you watch it on this channel, go ahead and check out my Patreon for $5 a month. You get all my videos unedited. This one, as well as all the Bjork's reactions, are up there as well. KiCk 1 is part of a 4-part series, so of course, if I enjoy this album enough, and if there is enough demand, I might consider doing a 4-part series to this, covering the entire KiCk series, but I'm not too sure. I don't want to take on a full discography either at the very moment, so we'll see where this goes. But today, as I said, KiCk 1 is the one we're checking out. It's 38 minutes, and given the fact that we've been listening to Bork throughout the year on the channel, and her next album in the discography for Bork, Utopia, is heavily collaborative with Arca, I thought it was a must to finally check out this LP. I'm not too sure what to expect. I did read the bio here in which it said that on KiCk 1, Arca pursues pleasure, dignity, and dance floor liberation by refracting club music, reggaeton, and pop through her radical vision, which sounds quite interesting, if I must say. So let's start with Non-Binary, kicking it off.
I do what I wanna do when I wanna do it. I don't give a fuck what you think. You don't know me.
Very blunt and sexual with this kind of demeanor.
I got here, but I work hard. Bitch, I'm special. You can't tell me otherwise.
Quite confident right off the bat. This Arca wastes no time in staking their claim. Oh, Jesus! Gunshot to the head.
No, because you're not dealing with. Better yet, speak for yourself.
Oh.
Speak for yourself. States. Speak for yourself. States. Speak for yourself.
Bit of a breakdown here.
Speak for yourself.
Love how
You'll forget. States. Speak for yourself. States.
less is more is kind of the thing I'm taking from this first track here. A lot of great use of space before diving into this breakdown. Just super sporadic now, yet still very careful. Oh. I like this guitar coming in here. Oh, getting quite pretty. A very sporadic, wildly vivid track right off the bat. I like that one. A solid opener. Here's Time. Keep it going. Certainly a much more pretty track. Kind of psychedelic in a way. Oh. Love the layering on this track. It's very just psychedelic and sweet. Pure beauty and bliss, really. I feel like we are sinking deep into a subconscious almost. This is a absolutely just beautiful track. I feel like we've been taken away in this short span. Really great layering, especially. And I love this spiral-like effect. Wow. Time was beautiful. Transcendent. Like, just feel like we were floating away into another dimension. Here's Mectrefe. Am I pronouncing that? I'm so sorry. Track 3. Clearly, this is in, I believe, Spanish. So. Love the club elements too. Oh. These keys as well. Quite pretty and carrying on that psychedelic sound almost. Incredible production. Crisp, clean. The arrangements so dense, yet giving tons of space to let each element kind of grow. Oh, kind of getting dark here. This is like nostalgic and really wholesome and sweet in its sound. Yeah, it feels very futuristic and otherworldly. Wow. That one was fantastic. Do I understand the language? Certainly not. However, incredibly beautiful instrumental and production. Super dense. Love how spacey and nostalgic it feels. For almost like a universe that I have never experienced. It feels like we are taken away into another dimension on that track. Let's keep it going. Another Spanish titled track. I'm not even going to try to butcher this one. I do love what we're hearing here with Arca. I like the energy she brings to the table vocally. Oh, the transition. Is this still her modulating her voice into different kind of faucets? That use of space, like cutting everything out just for a moment, keeps you hanging on. You guys know I'm a fan if you follow along. Perhaps this passage speaking on her transition. I'm not too sure. Because obviously, you know, not speaking this language, I can only grasp what I can hear. But I'm loving what I'm hearing. I will say, this is explosive and just so sporadic. Like, that's the main takeaway. Arca's a very rapid, in-your-face kind of artist. That was a great one. Just like in your face, like Arca wastes no time in delivering just weird, experimental, powerful pop bangers. Essentially is what I'm gathering. Here's Calor, I believe it's pronounced. We do have one with Bjork coming up and Sophie. Okay. And I'm just loving the washed out appeal to these instrumentals on the LP. That distant, feels so dreamlike. It's got a very slow growing appeal to it. Very gradual. I'm getting kind of like a 90s kind of dream pop element to it. Almost like Cocteau Twins-esque. Love the piano work throughout this LP too. It's absolutely stunning and delicate. That was another great one. Honestly, loving the very dreamy, you know, kind of otherworldly elements to this LP. It just feels just so wholesome and sweet, really. Here's Afterwards with Bjork, which I'm excited to check out. I know Bjork and Arca work quite heavily together on Utopia. I believe on Kira, which I just checked out on the channel not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. You could check that one out if you're interested. That album is essentially Arca and Bjork finally getting together. Utopia seems to be the catalyst of them, considering she's heavily credited throughout the LP. And then, of course, on Bjork's latest release, I think Arca had a hand in helping with the production on that as well. So clearly, the two of them together have some sort of chemistry. Let's check it out. There's Bjork. Did not know Bjork spoke Spanish, I believe. Sounding as angelic as ever against this ethereal backdrop. This one's got a very heavy thudding sound to it. Oh. Quite a cascading sort of ethereal approach that track had. I think Bjork offered a lot to the table there with her higher pitched vocals up against Arca's deeper sort of regimen there. Beautiful. Loved the transition from Bjork to Arca as well. Here's Watch with Shy Girl, who I'm unfamiliar with. But quite popular, so something to consider, I guess. But oh, I like tracks like this where keeps you on the edge of your seat. Love the delivery. Love the kind of glitch pop elements as well that we're seeing throughout the LP. Just so smoothly kind of worked in. And this delivery is quite rapid. What are we hearing right now? What a swirling mix of you know, I don't even know I have no words. I'm speechless on that track. It really just kept growing in sound compared to the beginning, which was so, like I said, had those quiet moments that keeps you leaning in, something that I always enjoy. But by the end, it is so kind of dense and sporadic, in what Arca seems to be doing quite a bit throughout this LP. And I thoroughly enjoy that approach. Could not distinguish Shy Girl from Arca, but to be fair, I am unfamiliar with both for the most part. So, that's to be expected, but I do like this delivery too in this first half. Like, it's so like kind of monotone and flat in the delivery, but it adds so much to this very sporadic and wild production. But let's go into the next one here with Rosalia, who I'm also, I've never checked out. I know of Rosalia, obviously a massive musician at this point, 22 million monthly listeners. KLK, let's get into it. Of course, working with the Spanish artists only makes sense here. Love how high pitched the synths are on this LP. Oh my god, oh. What an abuse of sound that was. Loving this. Very unpredictable, this energy, this LP in general, but the production is very off-kilter in its sound. You never know the direction it's going to take. It's continually kind of left field and explosive. What? Well, I do like most of that track. I do have a hot take coming here, considering this is the biggest track by far on the LP with 25 million listens. I do think it runs a little long at 4 minutes nearly. I think it gets quite repetitive by the end, and kind of starts to lose me as we get to that back half, that last third or so. I do think it could have been trimmed up a little shorter, tighten up the mix overall. But even still, that's just my personal feel on things here. The first time that I've heard it, I thought it went a little long, but it's still a solid track. And I mean, at the end of the day, like the production, the delivery here with Rosalia and Arca, just the kind of off-kilter explosive sound, super, forward thinking. I feel like Arca is clearly on another planet when it comes to production and trying to challenge the norms. Here's Rip the Slit. I personally prefer shorter, quicker, direct tracks when they're in this genre, this field. Oh, I don't know about these vocals. Oh. A little weird, that's for sure. And not in the way I typically enjoy. Oh, I love the vocal switch up here. Yeah, I don't know about this one either. Very repetitive. And like I said, I'm not you know, I like repetition, but for how long is really how I feel about things. And here, again, I feel like it's run its course. Yeah, I mean, it's vibey. It's more of kind of what I come to expect at this point on the LP, but I do think it certainly. I honestly feel like it could have been just left off, put on a deluxe, because it doesn't really offer too much after that first minute or so. The growth isn't that noticeable to really warrant a full 3 minutes. But let's go into La Chiqui with Sophie, which, if you've seen my channel before, if you've been following along, I am a fan of Sophie. Oil of Every Pearl's Uninsides is a fantastic LP, one that I checked out during Dance December last year, just at the very end of the year. And I thought it was an absolutely incredible, powerful, necessary listen if you are a fan of just groundbreaking music in general. So, working with Arca here, not too surprising. They're kind of in the same field, I would say. But let's keep it going. Oh, Jesus. Right off the bat, hits you over the head. I would imagine Sophie had a hand in production to an extent. Oh. Is that Sophie? It's building up. See, I like that repetition. It's used in dosages. Quite robotic in this delivery. Everything feels so manufactured. I love it. It's so squeaky clean. I love that. Incredible track with Sophie. Of course, as we come to expect with Sophie, very groundbreaking, very powerful and unique in delivery. Alongside Arca, really sticks the landing. Here's Machote? Am I Machote? I don't know how I'm pronouncing this. I've butchered pretty much all the titles at this point. My apologies. Ooh. Heavily Spanish album, which, although I don't understand it, it does sound beautiful. So I'll give it that. And I love the delivery with Spanish. This one's got that same sort of kind of throwback sound to it that we got earlier on the LP. This is kind of feeling like a grand evolution of what we heard in the early 2010s in the kind of club scene, especially. Very hazy, very dreamy. Another one that was another track that's very sweet and just kind of takes you away on like an ethereal plane, which are my favorite tracks on the LP, I think, to be honest with you. Alright, the final track here, nearly 6 minutes, the longest by far. 5 minutes, 37 seconds. Here's Nokeda Nada. Nokada? Nokeda? Nokeda. Thank you, Arca. Okay, I'm really liking this slow progression of this track. Kind of differs from most of the LP. Like that kick. Everything falls right into it. This really shows off her vocals too. Just very beautiful, very angelic. An incredible vocalist. This one's got like a deep melancholy to it. This one is an absolutely gorgeous, stunning closer. Really just gives it all the room to breathe and grow naturally. Quite a closer. I loved the spacey, again, kind of like art pop, dream pop elements that we got as it closed things out. Felt like a very natural kind of growth to it. I think Arca's vocals too are probably the best on the entire album on this track specifically. Just felt very powerful and showcases them greatly. The album as a whole, let's talk about it now that we closed it out. I've got to say, KiCk 1, a very pleasant, powerful, inspiring listen. I will say there's kind of two, I feel like, sides to this LP. There's the very kind of sporadic, club kind of built tracks that are in your face and glitchy and very forward thinking. And then you have the other side that is more art pop, more ethereal, slower, heavenly. And personally, I am more impartial to that side. I do like these slow growing, beautiful, again, very ethereal experiences because you can really bask in them and take them in as sort of like a journey. And that final track does feel kind of like the elements that I like in the album reaching a peak in a sense. But there were other tracks on here that were on the front here. Can't remember which track specifically, given that they are all in Spanish. I won't be able to remember the names as easily, I feel like, this time around. But the piano work, especially in that front half of the LP, did feel a lot more kind of basked in that art pop, washed out appeal that is just so heavenly that I thoroughly enjoy. That being said, the glitchy, forward-thinking, poppy polish that I feel like is very hyperpop adjacent is incredibly powerful and showcases the production techniques of Arca. She is clearly an incredibly talented producer, and I feel like is up there with Sophie as well as maybe even Bjork eventually if she were to keep it up. I won't say that quite yet. I know she's got a large discography as well, Arca here, but still, maybe in the test of time, she'll be held up there with Bjork. I know some Arca fans would certainly say it from what I gather. But I gotta say, I did enjoy this record. It was a pretty quick one at 38 minutes. I feel like it hits you with a lot to take in. It's very dense in its production, very dense in its appeal, and it's certainly worth a listen, which it certainly makes me more excited to check out Utopia with Bjork because I really liked the track afterwards. I feel like that track was something special, and I can't wait to hear what they do together fully. But as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.